I admit this is stupid, but every time the suitors would hit or kick Odysseus or something, I half expected him to just pull out a wand from his cloak and go, Avada Kedavra. Anyway, if you didn't know, The Return is actually an adaptation of the last portion of the Greek mythological epic, the Odyssey. And I'm actually a big fan of the Iliad and the Odyssey, but at the time that I heard this movie was being made, I was kind of confused because, to my recollection, it was only like a quarter of the story that was when he went back to Ithaca and figured out how to deal with the suitors. But when I went to the book, it actually turns out it's the second half of the book, so a lot more material. So once I figured that out, my fears were alleviated. Anyway, the story revolves around Odysseus finally returning home from the Trojan War, only to find out that his troubles are far from over, as his home is overrun by unruly and violent suitors who are trying to convince his wife Penelope to marry one of them and give them all the power that comes from that arrangement. Odysseus, the renowned tactician, must devise one last battle plan to rid his home of these vagabonds and win back his family and his honor. Hey everyone, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by. By the way, sorry for getting this video out late. I was actually sick, and by the way, for any of you who celebrated Thanksgiving, hope you had a better one than me, because I spent it sick, and I'm still getting over it, but you know, slowly but surely feeling better. Anyway, I also wanted to thank you guys. I got to 250 subscribers and couldn't have done it without you guys. It was a big milestone, but I guess we're just gonna go by increments of 50. So let's shoot for 300 now if you enjoy the video. And the big milestone really is 500. So if you want to just jump ahead to 500, totally fine with me. But yeah, let's get back to the review. The Return was co-written and directed by Umberto Pasolini, and stars Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus, Juliette Binoche as Penelope, Charlie Plummer as Telemachus, Odysseus' son, Marwan Kenzari as Antinous, the leader of the suitors, and Claudio Santamaria as Eumaeus, Odysseus' loyal swineherd. First things first, I'm a huge Greek mythology fan, especially the Iliad and the Odyssey. I love those. So in some ways that made me the perfect audience member for this movie, but in other ways not so much, because I noticed basically every single change between the book and the movie, and in my opinion 95% of the time the book did it better, and I was wondering why they made the change to begin with. So also it does take the approach that Troy basically took, and it takes out all the gods and the supernatural elements, which is especially surprising to me because the Odyssey is very much a mythological story. It's got cyclopses, it's got sirens, gods, nymphs, etc. So, you know, I guess once he gets to Ithaca, the story is a bit more grounded, but there are times where it references where he was, or he's asked where he was this whole time, and the answer basically retcons the entire first half of the book, which I thought was an interesting choice. It kind of it made it a little different. It kind of changed the character of Odysseus. Instead of him, he was on a mission trying to get home, and all these obstacles got in his way. It changes it up a bit. Really, the only other negatives I can think of are how Penelope and Telemachus react to certain situations. It's once again another difference between the book and the movie that I did feel like diminished their characters at the end of the day, which is unfortunate. But other than that, I thought the positives way outweighed the negatives. I appreciated the obvious care and attention to detail. As far as the story goes, the pacing was just about perfect. There's only like one area that I can pinpoint where I felt like it dragged just a little bit, but other than that, I thought it was a really good slow burn, and the payoff was pretty great at the end of the day. It's ultimately a character study of Odysseus, Penelope, and Telemachus, and their interplay was very interesting. Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus was inspired casting, and he and Binoche have great chemistry and are on their own wavelength, which is exactly how those characters should be portrayed. So kudos to the director and everybody involved. And they really were the standouts of the movie, even though I thought everybody did a pretty great job. I really did appreciate the cinematography as well, and I thought all the shooting locations were really well picked out. And I mean, I bought that we were in ancient Greece and in Ithaca. I really tried to find information on the film's budget because I was curious, but I couldn't find anything. I'm pretty sure though that they got the biggest bang for their buck and used it very wisely, which in an era of basically every movie overspending by millions upon millions of dollars, I always appreciate stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, really at the end of the day, I would recommend this to not only to anyone who's a big fan of Homer and Greek mythology, but also to anyone that is a fan of, you know, a good slow burn story that does have action, sure, but it's not the focus necessarily, and at the end of the day, it's more of a drama, but I thought it was a gripping one at that. I think I would have to rate The Return 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't perfect and it had its flaws, but at the end of the day, I thought it was really well made and I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's, you know, I'm still waiting for the definitive film or series adaptation of the Trojan War and then the Odyssey, but until then, we got this, and I'm really glad somebody made this. But yeah, guys, thanks for putting up with me and my sickness. I'm still not at 100%. I'm sure you can tell. So appreciate you giving this a watch anyway. And if you missed it, I do have a review of Gladiator 2 that's up. Sorry, I'm stifling a cough as we speak. But yeah, I'm sure probably you've seen it by now, but if you haven't and you're still thinking you may see Gladiator 2, I would definitely give my video a shot first, because I think I would have enjoyed the movie more had I watched a review and kind of knew more what to expect. So take a look at that if you want, but keep an eye out for future content as well. This is the guy with no name signing off.